So I see here Vicky's asking, would love to hear more about your retreat. Yeah. So I did it was a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat as taught by SN Goenka. Some of you must be familiar with this type of retreat. Vipassana is the meditation of the Buddha, the Buddhist meditation. Um, this was my third Vipassana retreat. It was a great retreat. Lots to unpack, but on the first night, I related with Durga. Durga. So the energy, the presence of Durga was there in my little prison cell bedroom there at the retreat. I say prison cell because it's literally just a bed. That's all you got. Nothing, no pen, no paper, nothing. No talking, just sitting. And this was my third retreat, like I said. So the second was earlier, sorry, it was last year, and I had a really intense, really exciting, but it was like a week-long acid trip, that retreat. And so I went into this retreat recently with all sorts of attachment to having another really far out exciting experience. And I was mindful of that attachment and trying to keep it at bay and trying to be open to nothing exciting happening, trying to be open to the retreat being complete hell if it has to be. And yet still there was this attachment, this eagerness towards hoping for some magic. Because the last one was completely magical. I haven't really even spoken about it to probably told the full extent of it to about one person. Um, and so it was a challenge going into this one without any expectations. And so in the first night, I was, met with the presence of Durga, which is actually a manifestation of the divine feminine, of the divine mother Shakti, which I don't closely relate with. I typically tend to relate with the more fierce version of Kali. Um, and so Durga was present with me with this really gentle, soothing energy. And if those who aren't familiar, Durga has some warrior-like qualities to her. And the story goes that there was a great demon that, Durga couldn't overcome. And so she had to be transformed into Kali. And this is where Kali, Ma Kali, the fierce, demon slayer archetype emerged to handle this demon. And so Durga and Kali are essentially the same as the Divine Mother, right? In her different manifestations. So anyway, Durga's there, and Durga tells me, Brent, I understand you've come in with such attachment and expectations. How could you not? The last one was so intense and exciting. I understand. No worries. It'll be okay. This retreat will be very gentle, very calm, very soothing. Just just take it easy. And so that was the message I got on the first night. And the retreat was it was that very gentle, almost I could say too gentle. It got kind of boring, and it was testing a lot of my patience for a long periods of the retreat. I felt like I was sitting in a waiting room, waiting to get back into the world because I've got a lot of exciting things going on this year. And so it really just was very soothing, very grounding, very stabilizing. It allowed me to really just settle as opposed to stirring up a lot more energy and phenomena and stuff. It was actually just allowing all of that to settle. So that was the essence of my retreat. There was of course, some working through some of the stuff being held in my body, some of the stuff held in the psyche as well, some of the shadow material and whatnot. So some pains come up, some frustration, some attachments come up, longing comes up, loneliness comes up, everything comes up. You've got 10 days for it all to come up to some degree, and you can work through it. So I got a lot out of the retreat. What else is relevant for our Kundalini meeting was um I like to go into these retreats. I don't like to talk to anybody beforehand. You're able to talk beforehand before the retreat officially starts, so you can make friends and stuff. But I recognize that what happens is if you do that, you kind of start developing stories in your head about who this person is, and you start maybe you know them from somewhere, or they you know somebody they know, and now for 10 days you're going to see them, and have all sorts of dialogue running about who they are and all sorts of stuff. So I tend to keep to myself. And the person that I was sharing a bathroom with, at the end of the retreat, we began to talk, and he opened up and he said, I've been having these spontaneous movements, and I can't stop them, and it feels like something interesting is happening, and it's clearing me. And I said, oh yeah, this is sounds like Kundalini. Do you know about this? And he said, no, what is that? I never heard about this. And so, of course, I go into Brent spirit mode and tell him, "Oh, this is a known thing," but they don't talk about it in these Buddhist contexts. They don't talk about it at all. And so that was an interesting unfolding there. So I started to just kind of gently share what I could without getting too guru mode on him. And I said, you can talk to this energy. And so he said, I realized that I learned I could talk to it. And he had just learned this organically on his own without knowing what this was. He learned that he can communicate with it and relate with it. He understood intuitively that it was clearing something in his body and he could trust his body's intelligence. And he didn't have a clue about what Kundalini was, right? And he didn't, I asked him, did he read any books? What kind of teachers he likes? He's like, I don't really look at that stuff. And so that goes to show that this is a very intuitive, natural process, right? We don't need to come into it with like this, you know, as a scholar or an intellectual, right? We can just allow the intelligence of the body to do its thing and just flow with it. And that's what he was finding. Another person was describing like tingling across the entire body that wasn't stopping, and he started thinking, I think I'm going crazy. It's okay if there's a little bit of tingling in the meditation, but when the meditation is over and I'm eating lunch and I'm walking around, I'm still tingling. He said it wasn't stopping, and the teacher didn't have much to advise. He just said, "Oh, just keep sitting. This happens." Right. And so what I recognized was that there's people that will begin to have these phenomena. To me, it's Kundalini phenomena. You can call it spiritual phenomena, whatever you want to call it, but it's not often a lot of support. So that's something to keep in mind if you want to attend one of these retreats. You may have to not rely on the teachers to support you with some of this phenomena. Generally, their advice is just sit, don't be attached. Try and keep still. If your body's moving spontaneously, try and keep still. I grilled the teacher a little bit, asking him, what his experience or understanding of Kundalini is. And he gave me the exact same response that the last teacher gave me, which was, I'm not familiar with that practice. So right off the bat, he thinks it's a practice, like Kundalini yoga or something, and it's not a practice. And so I was a little disappointed, but also not surprised. What I've understood is that within some of these traditions, the technique of Vipassana is a perfect technique. It will take you all the way if you just commit to it. But what I found is that some of these practitioners kind of find one paradigm and just park themselves there and go as deep as they can with it without exploring much outside of that. And that can really be effective. But for somebody who's leading a group of like 50 people, I think it's good to have some experience with some of this phenomena because people were literally thinking they're going crazy because they're having stuff come up, Kundalini phenomena that, it's not talked about openly. And so anyway, I could go on. I haven't talked to anybody in like 10 days, so yeah, I'll stop there. But thanks for asking about that, Vicky. I feel great. I feel clear. I feel ready to take on this year and see what's in store. So it's a good way to start the year. And for those that are interested, I'll type the link in the chat if you want to check out one of these retreats. It's dhamma.org. It's they're free. Feed you, give you a place to stay. 200 centers all around the world. You can offer a donation, and it's a great way to work through a lot of stuff. Just be a little prepared for some interesting phenomena, especially if you've got a very active Kundalini process.